So let us start with a different scenario now. Okay, this will be a cantilever beam. This is quite obvious, so we don't need to go further on it. Okay, this is just a load which is acting at the end of a beam which is fixed at one of the end. Okay, fixed at this end over here. So if this is the case, whole of the beam will see a shear force. Shear force means if you take any section of the beam, one of this will have a force F going downwards, other half will have a restraining force. That means it tends to bring back the position by a equal and opposite force, that is F. So overall shear force at any section, any position on this beam will be same, that is plus F. So that is how shear force diagram SFT will vary. Okay, if you take bending moment now. Okay, so bending moment can be easily given as force into whatever is the distance. So if it is a distance of x from any a distance of x from this end, so as because you see this is going downward, it is tending to make your beam something like this, right? That is convex upward. So it is negative. And how much is negative, that one? So if you take it at L by 4 distance, it should be equal to F into L by 4. Similarly at L by 2, at 3L by 4, at this point. So this is how it will vary. So these looks quite simple as long as you have just one force acting on the beam. Okay, so you saw 2 cases, 3 cases by now. We'll move ahead to establishing a relation. Could you see anything? Could you observe anything on all of these? Okay, there is a relation between shear force and bending moment. Quickly, to see that, you can just say yes, bending moment is just the area of this shear force diagram. Okay, this could be that. Let us see if it comes out to be that. Okay, so there is a relation. So that relation we'll try to establish now. So this is a load distribution which is given as W. W is varying. It is not uniform throughout. It is not uniform throughout. So it varies as W, which is little bit more, little bit less. So it is given by this, and it is supported over a simply supported beam which is pinned at one point. Okay, one end, other end is having roller support. Okay, so this is quite okay so far. Yes, Dev, you have to ask something. Please go ahead. We'll do it. We'll do it. Don't worry. You haven't done. We'll do it. Don't worry. We'll do it in other way. Okay, we'll do it using this relationship between load and the shear force. Okay, we'll use this to find it out, and then we'll come back to our first principle, how we have done it. Rest two of the beams. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Don't worry. So now this is W, that is the load distribution which is given as. Okay, so now if you take any section, this is a small section which is under consideration now. So one half of this will have a vertical force acting upwards, something like this, and another half, another section which is at the other side of C dash will have a different vertical force, maybe in the opposite direction. If it is trying to restrain, trying to balance it, okay, it also has its own load distribution from here to here. Okay, that is the load distribution. So this plus this load distribution should equal this much because it is in equilibrium. So that is what is given over here. It can be directly extracted also, I'll tell you. So let us say if one end has got V, other end has got V plus delta V, some additional restraining force that is generated out in this so as to keep this in equilibrium, and this is the load W into delta X for a small unit. This may be assumed to be a constant. So this is what is an assumption that we have made for a very small distance. the variation is negligible, and we can directly find it out as W into delta x. So that is what is done here. So total load acting downward should be equal to load coming outward, and that is equal to 0, and that turns out to be delta V. Change in this vertical force is only because of the external load at this section. And how much is that? That is equal to W into delta x, and it is acting downwards. So this can be directly extracted also, even without considering this as a small element doing all this exercise. This is clearly visible as well. So if I divide both sides by delta x, what I get? Delta V by delta x is equal to, if it is tending to 0. So this what is this? This is a derivative of V with respect to x. If delta x tends to 0, delta V by delta V, this is what? This is by first principle, it is equal to dV by dx, and that is equal to minus of W. So this can be quickly extracted. So what we see, rate of change of vertical force with x should equal to W. That is what by definition also it says so, and it is in the negative direction because you know it is acting downward, it is decreasing. Okay, it is decreasing with this. So anyway, so let us integrate this. What I did now, I have taken dV and integrated it between C and D, or any 2 points in between. So if you integrate this, so dV integration of from point C to point D should be equal to W dx integration negative from point xc to xd. This is okay. So this turns out to be this much. This turns out to be this much. So change in vertical force from D to C is equal to area under the load curve. What is this? This is the loading curve. W is the, yes, W and x. W varies with x. W is a function of x as it is defined. So this gives you the loading curve along x. Okay. So this exactly equal to area under the load curve between C and D. So this is the first relation which you should note down, and this one, this is another very good relation that we will be using later on. Mind it, dV by dx is equal to minus W. So this is another relation. This is a significance now that we have extracted. Okay. Moving ahead, another similar thing, if you talk about same thing in terms of moment, what it is? Left side moment, right side moment, and the left side moment. Difference between those two moments should only be generated due to the vertical forces and due to the mass, that is the load that acts in between this. So if W delta x is the load that acts on this region, okay, if I assume from any within any small span it is almost constant, so that acts at a distance of delta x by 2, that is correct. Yes. So W delta x is the total load that acts downward due to the loading. And where does it act? It acts at a distance of delta x by 2 distance. So moment caused is this much, and moment caused due to the variation in load is V times of delta x, V minus V plus delta V. So it is exactly this much. So it is V delta x is the moment caused, and these two are, or without again putting too much in this, you can directly write something like this. So change in moment is due to vertical force, that is the restraining force, and due to the loading. How much is that? W delta x whole square by 2. Okay, and that is along negative direction. Okay, because you see it is trying to make it convex, so it is negative. And why convex? Because you are taking this point as something, and what does this trying to do? Load which comes next, okay, this load is trying to make it something like this. So this is the point, C dash was the another one, this is the point of interest, okay, that we assume is fixed. Okay, so this is what is trying to make the beam something like this, so that is why it is negative. Okay, so these are the two things that you need to remember. And again, if I take again similar way, you divide both sides by delta x, take limit tends to 0, limit delta x tends to 0, this term becomes equal to dm by dx is equal to v, dm by dx is equal to v. So this is another very important relation that we will be using later on. Okay, so what does this say? Again, if you take, so this is an important relation that we have derived just now. Okay, just a second. Yes, so this is a important relation that we have derived just now. Okay, this is one, this you need to remember. Okay, if you integrate this again, so what you can get, similar to the one that we did just now, md minus mc, integrating this, I don't think I need to write down, but it is exactly this, v dx, integrating from c to d, xc to xd. Okay, so that is what exactly gives me this. Okay, so it is again equal to v dx. What is v? V is the loading, dx area. What was v? V was your shear force diagram. If you take shear force, v was the shear force. Shear force varied with x as a function of vx. Okay, so that is what is this much. Okay, so area under the shear force curve is given by this. Okay, and that is what is the change in moment between C and D. C and D. If C turns out to be one of the ends, so what should be that? Tell me, how much should that be? Moment at any of the end is normally equal to 0. So if C is one of the end, should be equal to 0. In that case, moment at any point D should be directly area between C, okay, from here to here. Yes, please. Yes, it will turn out to be this. Moment turns out to be there, even the shear force that we did earlier will turn out to be this. So it is not to be too much discussed upon, but hope this is quite okay and clear. So we'll move ahead with a ready-made extracted form without remembering all these derivations every time. So this is the first important relation that we have done. Okay, this is another very important conclusion that we can draw from this. Okay, in earlier slide also we got something similar. So this is another very important relation, and this one. Okay, so these are the four. Okay, so using those what we can say, since w is equal to dv by dx, v is equal to dm by dx with a negative sign, combining these two, if you substitute v directly to this, you can get this. So w is equal to d square m by dx square. So this is another third relation, that is a derived relation out of these two that we can get. So if w is equal to fx, bending moment can be obtained by integrating w twice between the span. Okay, between the span, one of the end may be equal to the starting value. Okay, so let us see, we'll use this to derive a few derivations. Okay, so now I'll come to uniformly distributed load. Somebody pointed out we didn't do this, so let us do it using standard loading, uniformly distributed load. Okay, so this is W, uniformly distributed load throughout the span from A to B. Reaction forces at the ends should be equal to, how much is the span? Span is L. So total load that is acting on this beam is equal to W into capital L because it is symmetrically placed, okay, so both the ends reaction will be equal to WL by 2 and WL by 2. I hope this is clear. Okay, so now I'll use my relations. So V minus VA, any point V, that is the shear force V at any point between this, okay, should be equal to V minus VA. VA is the starting point. So it always talks about between spans. Okay, so that is why it is V minus VA. V is the point which is at a distance x from A. So that is why this is 0 and this is x, and how much is that equal to? W into dx. So integrating the load between 0 to x, so it gives me Wx. So this is quite clear, and V is equal to VA goes to that side, so VA minus Wx. So this is quite okay. How much is VA? VA is the force that is acting upward at point A, so that is equal to WL by 2, that is the reaction force. So it gives me directly this much. So V with x will vary something like this. So W L by 2 minus x. Clear? So V is a function of x. This one we'll use when we'll do bending moment thing. Okay? So we'll use a similar relation that we have derived just now and use this to do that. Okay? So this is something which is expected. We'll find out using standard way also. So now taking, yes, loading is per unit length. Yes, quite true. Okay. So moment at any point x from point A, okay, so that is why it is m minus ma. So m itself is at a distance x, this is A will be equal to 0, okay, that is at a distance 0 with a negative sign. V, that is a function of x that we have seen just now. As we have said, we can directly integrate twice this much and we'll get that. So instead of doing that, we go gradually so that we get shear force in between, and then we integrate it once again. Okay. So integrating this, I'll substitute this to this place. Okay. So this is there, dx 0 to x, moment at A is equal to 0. Okay. Moment at A is always equal to 0. Why? We have seen in earlier class also. So because there is no beam that is here, okay, before A was this location, there is nothing over here, so you cannot generate any restoring couple. So that is why there is, that is equal to 0 at ends. Okay, so that is always the case. Okay, so that is why this is equal to 0. So now you just substitute this, integrate that, and this gives you something like this. Okay, so W by 2 x you extract it and you can get L minus x. So this is what is an equation of a parabola, and it is something like this only. Okay, for maximum bending moment, what I have said, you just take maxima, apply maxima and minima thing, and you can get it. So dm by dx, equate it to 0, find out x for that region. Okay, so that gives you x is equal to L by 2, and by symmetry also you can find out this should be the maximum bending moment if this is the trend. So bending moment maximum is equal to W L square by 8. Okay, yes please. Yes, maybe part wise integration you will have to do. You can do that, you will have to do part wise integration. So this to this one, this to this another, this to this another, same way you can do it. Yes. Okay, so you have to do part wise integration. So you cannot do in a single go, you have to take any point which takes this to this to this, and sum them all together, you will get it. Okay, so we'll find it out, we'll see one example of that as well. Okay, so hope this is quite okay. You could have, you did it earlier using standard technique. I'll go back to that slide. So this was there, okay. So uniformly distributed load or simply supported beam, 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 W per unit length. Okay, so this is the way we used to do it earlier without using the relations. So reactions at A, reactions at B is equal to WL by 2. Okay, so shear force should be equal to, if you take any point between A and D, let us say it is at C. So how much should that be? So left side force and total force that is acting downward. Total force acting downward is equal to W into X. W was the load that is acting downward, X is the distance. So total downward force within this span is equal to Wx. Upward force is equal to WL by 2. So upward minus downward, so that is the shear force at C. So that gives you directly WL by 2 minus Wx. This is exactly the same as we have obtained just now using relations. Shear force maximum will be at L by 2. Okay, if you substitute it here, you should get it. Okay, maximum should be when x is equal to 0. Shear force is that point. Okay, and then bending moment, again bending moment, if you calculate, that should give you this. Why this is like this? W into L by 2 is the total load that is acting downward. Okay, that is what, without messing it up, let me just read out a few. Okay, I will just wipe it off, how you can extract it using first our older method. Okay, so I am doing it now. Okay, so how it happened, how this one can be extracted. So you see, so this was your beam. Okay, this end has got WL by 2. You are interested at a distance x, x is this point. Okay, total load from here to here should be small w. Okay, small w. So small w into x is the load that is on it. Okay, small w into x is the load that is on it. Where does it act? It act at the, because it is uniformly distributed, it should be acting at a distance x by 2, x by 2. Okay, so that will create a moment something like this. Again, WL by 2 is at the other end. Okay, so that is creating a moment something like this. So that should be equal to WL by 2 into x. Okay, so this is trying to make it concave upward, this is trying to make convex upward, so that is why it is negative. Okay, so this you can directly get even if you do using your older technique. So this is the same. So bending moment maximum, use maxima and minima theorem and you can still find out this. Okay, so this is using older technique, but I prefer, if it is not a uniformly distributed load or it is a varying load which is given by some sort of function, you always should use these relations. Okay, the relations which I have just learned. Okay, so these one. Okay, so using this we could do this, it still came out to be the same. Okay. Okay, this is a example when your load is not uniformly distributed, it is a varying load, but this time load is also varying in a linear fashion. Okay, it is like a straight line, it is like a straight line. This is a cantilever which is fixed at one end, which is fixed at one end. It is loaded by W. W itself is not a uniform one, W is gradually decreasing. Okay, at B it is equal to 0, A is it is maximum. Okay, I want to find the shear force and bending moment for these. Okay, this can easily be done using our older method also, but I would prefer doing it using our new relations. Okay, so now you have to find out how much is the load at a distance x. Let us see, this is x, x dash. Okay, let us say this is a small section which is at a distance x from the end A. Okay, using similar triangle, what will be the loading over this point at this point using similar triangle. This is W, this is your total length L. If this is X, how much is this? So using similar triangles you can write this. This is quite simple. If this is Y, I have assumed, so Y can be given as this. Using similar triangle, this by this should be equal to this by this. And how much is this? This is L minus X, is it not? So using that I could quickly get Y is equal to this, and that is this. So loading at this point is now known. Okay, loading at this point is known, or rather loading at any point which is varying at as X. So now you know how the load is changing. Load is changing by an equation given by Y is equal to W minus W by L into X. So this is the load equation. So area under the load equation should be shear force. That is the first thing that you have seen. So area under the load curve, it can be given as two different. So how much, what will be the shear force at any section XX dash? So it will be the area under the loading curve, and that can be calculated in two halves. Okay, first is area of this, second one is area of this. So now I can easily do using our technique. F1 is area under the load curve, this one. So it is 1 by 2 base is X, this one, into altitude is W minus Y. If this end is W, this end is Y, so this is W minus Y. Okay, so that is quite okay. If I substitute Y that was extracted here, okay, to this location, this point, you can quickly get this, and finally this. This is your first triangle. First piece is a triangle one. I could find out the area under that. Similarly, now I will just go to second, that is quickly the area of this box, that is equal to X into Y. So it is X into Y was this, you substitute this here, okay, and you get this. So sum of these two area will give you the shear force at a section which is at a distance X, shear force at a distance. And why these are negative sign again? Negative sign, these loads which are this side, yes, it is trying to make it something like this, so it is negative sign. Both of them is with a negative sign. Hope you remember your earlier sign convention, and now you will simply sum up these two. Yes, you simply, yes, Divyans, please tell me. Yes, exactly that. Okay, so anyway, I'll just, for your convenience now, at times I prefer showing it to you. So it was this. So this is the convention that we are following. Okay, so using this I can quickly find out this. Okay, so that is the reason it is negative. Okay, so now going to next, that is shear force diagram at X is equal to 0. You just substitute X is equal to 0, then shear force at L you substitute. This should give you a parabolic shape. This is a parabola. I don't know if it is there or not, but it should give you a parabola with maximum value of 1 by 2 W into L. Okay, so that is at X is equal to L. Maximum should be at this location, maximum shear force. Got it? Okay, so now let us go ahead and find out the bending moment. So bending moment is for this uniformly varying load. You already know how much is Y, that Y comes out to be from the previous one, only will use that one. Okay, so bending moment at any section XX at A should be, now It is what? It is area under the shear force diagram, right? So it is, or you can say F1, F1 is the shear force due to, this is the first one. Again, don't forget, this we considered as the first section, this we considered as the second section. Okay, so F1, where does it act? That force act at a, where is the centroid of a triangle? It is at a 1 by 3 from bottom or 2 by 3 from top. Okay, if whole of this is x, so this is at a distance of 2 by 3 times of x. So hope this is clear. If F2, F1 is acting at this location, okay, so 2 by 3 is the distance where it is acting. So effectively mxx due to the first section is this. This is clear? Okay, fine. Now the second section, F2. F2 is the load that is acting due to this rectangular part, and that always will act at its center, that is x by 2 given by F2. So now substituting all of these, I will get this. I have used F1 and F2 from the earlier derivation. Quickly substituting them, I got something like this. Okay, you see in this case it is cubic curve. It is a cubic curve. It is not parabolic. Okay, so if it is point ended, it is linear. If it is UDL, it is parabolic, uniformly distributed, uniformly varying load, it is cubic. It goes just 1 degree ahead. Okay, so bending moment at A is equal to 0. At these are the extremas. Okay, that you can quickly find out. So this is how you can use your theorem, that relations, to find out. This makes things quite simple. This is one of the example when things were varying. It can be varying in a very ill mannered also, but normally it is not, because mostly civil constructions, they follow a uniform curves most of the time, or block loading is there. Okay, even if it is loaded ununiformly, it is well defined. It cannot be a haywire. Okay, so that is why maybe they avoid doing that also. Okay, so this is example 1 that we have seen of uniformly varying load. Okay, now let us do some examples one by one using concentrated load or a combination of load. From now on, we'll use combinations, not standard way, just one type of loading the way we have dealt so far. Okay, just one load or one type of load. We'll have a combination of load. To begin with, I have put concentrated load on a simply supported beam which is overhung also, okay, with two different concentrated loads. Load can be many, okay, we'll see as we go. Okay, so this is one load that is acting at one end, that is 20 kilonewton, that is acting at A, which is overhung beyond this pinned joint. This is a roller joint. Okay, so it doesn't matter what type of joint it is. From now on, I won't be recalling the first things. Okay, so this is simply supported, and in between the span, at a distance 3 meter from this support, at C you have 40 kilonewtons. So this is a well defined thing. Okay, so moving ahead, we have divided this whole of this section to multiple spans now. Why that is very important? Because now you cannot attempt to solve everything in a single go. You have to look at small pieces. Draw free body diagram of the entire beam that comes from here to here one piece, from here to here another one, from here to here another one. Okay, so that is how we'll do. Okay, so there is a point range which lies in between this point range which lies over here. Okay, so that is how we'll do. Using free body diagram of the entire beam, moment at D should be equal to 0, or moment at B is also equal to 0. This is just a way that is used to find the reaction force. Okay, that is just used to find the reaction force at B. Okay, because that is in between two external loads. That is very, very important. You need to find it out. Okay. So I have taken it about d equal to 0. So 20 into 7.5, that is 3 plus 2 plus 2.5, 40 into 2 meters, and RB into 3 plus 2, that is 5, and that gives me RB as 46 kilonewton, that is acting upward. Okay. So this is quite okay, trivial. We did it. Using summation of Fy vertical load should be equal to 0. That should give me, because these are the two vertically upward acting forces. Okay, apart from, okay, so this is already known. So remaining is Rd, that is found out as 14 kilonewton. So far so good. This is quite okay. Okay, this is in line with your whole equilibrium of bodies. Okay, for section AB, shear force any place will be equal to this. Do you agree with this? Why 20 kilonewton? Yes, this is a concentrated force, so any point from here which is at a distance, yes. So yes, direction wise it will be negative also. You remember your earlier picture now? Okay. So this is there, so that is why it is like this. Now I'll talk about a section which is beyond that. Bending moment will be equal to 20 times of x. You agree with this also? So again I'll show you a small thing. Yes, this is how it was, that is why it is negative. I will stop showing all this details now. uh, you should be convenient with sign conventions at least. Okay, so these are the two. Section AB is clear now. We'll move ahead to bending moment at extremes. Yes, yes, it is measured as I have drawn just now. So this is a point which is at a distance x. So x is a point between A and B. So any point between A and B, this is what you will see. So shear force all over will be minus 20 kilonewton between A and B, and bending moment will be this into this. So that is 20 kilonewton, 20 into x kilonewton meter. So this is okay. And extremes, because we want to do the plots also, we have to find what will be at this, what will be at this. So that is the reason I have found out at extremes. Okay, what is, I know the behavior, it should be linear. Okay, it is a linear curve starting passing through origin. So y is equal to mx only, it is there with slope minus 20. So this gives me a straight line equation passing through origin. So at 0 it is 0, at 2.5 it is 50. So I can quickly draw the bending moment plot now using straight line with negative box. Okay. Now for the section BC, how much is that? It is a distance which is at a distance x from this. Okay, so you have two things that is there. First, minus 20 that acts in this direction. Okay, and 46, 46 mind it, this acts in the upward direction. Okay, that is in positive direction. So minus 20 plus 46, it is plus 26 shear force that is remaining any point between this to this. From beyond this point it may have some other value, we'll see later. Okay, but till C you can definitely, you can clearly say yes, it is this. So this is clear. Very good. So this is there. And then similarly, because it is beyond the point of interest, I am checking at a point. Okay, so I am checking how much is the shear force that coming at this section which is at a distance x from this. So this lies beyond that. So it is, we are talking anything in between this. Okay, shear force. Okay, it is a section, left side and the right side only will see. a particular section which is of interest, I talk about this side force and this side force only. Okay, anything which is beyond is not going to affect this. If I have to talk about this from this side, maybe we'll take use, yes, you are free to do it. In that case, I'll tell you, this is the case when I have taken A to C. You could have done it from D to C also. Okay, in that case, what all forces that will come? If it is a distance taken from this direction, so this will be first force reaction at D, done. This will be your first force, and then at C you will have another force 40 kilonewton. Okay, 40 kilonewton, and this will be assumed as this. So this is the section. Still it should come out to be the same. You can try doing that, it will come out to be same. Okay, you try at home. No, you take up this numerical. I started doing from here, I'll keep doing this way. You can continue, start doing this way. Always remember your sign convention. Okay, sagging, left side up, right side down, those things you just need to remember and start doing it from this side. You will get the same results. Okay, now that I have proceeded from this side, I'll keep proceeding in this direction only. So what do you see? You see bending moment. Again, shear force was this. Bending moment is because of this load, that is at a distance x. Okay, and 46, where does it act? 46 RB, it is x minus 2.5 distance. Okay, and effectively it gives me this. Hope this is clear between section B and C. Okay, okay, very good. So you people are in mood immediately after mathematics class. Now you are very confident about these. So that makes my life simple. So it is good that immediately after math class, this class is there. So now these are the extremes. This will help me to do the plotting. Okay, these are the extremes. I have just substituted the values, extreme values, not x is equal to 0, you need not to submit here. Why? I am talking about a region which is between this and this. So I started directly from x is equal to 2.5 now, because before 2.5 it is a different matter. It is in this region. Okay, so after 2.5, so it starts from this 2.5 and 5.5, that is within this span. Got it? Now section CD, that is the last one. Shear force, again sum of all the forces, this one, and this one. Okay, this one, it gives me this. Shear force is quite simple. Bending moment, same way, the way we did it, 20 into x. So this time x is over here, x is over here, it is in this region. So it is 20 into x, this into x, and RB 46 into x minus 2.5, and x minus 5.5 will be for 40. So that is this distance. Okay, so this is what is your bending moment between C and D. So all sections are done, AB, BC and CD. Okay, overall again for the extremes I have calculated. This time extremes are between 5.5 to 7.5. So whole of this is done. Okay, so effectively using the extremes that I have done, these, no, I know the slopes, so I have used exactly those, directly transferred the values. There is no calculation here, calculation was in earlier page. So this is how you will get. So this is a shear force diagram, this is the bending moment diagram. Again you will see from here to here it is area under the curve. If you transfer from here to here, how much is that? So it is directly area under this curve. Okay, this is directly that. So this value is exactly area under that curve. So it should be that. Okay, so anyway, so this is how you will do shear force and bending moment diagrams. So moving ahead, I think so far I think it is almost done. You start doing a few numericals of your own. which are given in tutorials also. Okay, without troubling yourself, I think you should start now. I hope you have submitted your earlier assignments so far. So we'll move ahead to next numericals in next class only. Okay, that's all for today.